Yes, it's my birthday. And what am I doing today? Well, this morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm working on this little beauty. That's dedication for you, isn't it? Yes, it bloody well is. And I think I've got a code coming for my birthday. So that's a lovely little treat. But yes, lots to do. And haven't quite finished the other one yet either. For this one, I've had to turn around incredibly quickly. So yeah, I've got to get on with that and try and get this finished today. And in the post, we don't know. Is it doable? We will see. Time will tell. But yes, happy birthday to me. That last year went quick. I remember last year being down on the cliffs watching the sunset. Today it's raining. Not such a nice day, although apparently the sun's coming out later, so all good. Anyway, I've got to get on with this. I should point out yet again, I am fully dressed underneath my dressing gown. It's just, it keeps me warm and I like to wear it. Something about these wintry mornings, colder mornings, it's a lot more snuggy in my dressing gown. Anyway, yes, 50. Who'd have thought it? I absolutely definitely don't feel it. Not in the slightest. Yeah, not even a tiny little bit, to be fair. So I'm just going to pretend that I'm not. Although it doesn't bother me, actually. If anything, it just makes me sometimes look back on my life and think about things that I haven't done. But I haven't done them because I've been busy raising my girl up. And that's got to be the greatest gift of all in life, isn't it? So that's quite an achievement in itself. Something to be very proud of. And do you know what? She got me some presents today that are just so bloody lovely. Really, really, like a lot of thought went into it. It's just really lovely. She got me a couple of plant pots that one says love, one says you, one says mum. So 3 plant pots, little tiny miniature ones, really, really lovely. And a little waterfall thing for my desk, which when I set it all up, I will show you at some point, no doubt. And a lovely little sort of glass plaque thing with a really lovely little inscription on it and a photo of us both. Really, really lovely. So that was nice. I got woken up with cake. Not complaining. Very lovely. But yes, so I've got to try and get this picture finished, which, do you know, I've been battling again with it. It's just me and my perfectionist ways. It really interferes with everything. I mean, it's not a bad drawing of a dog. It's just, it's got to look exactly like the dog in my head. Obviously, there's no point sending them a picture of the Rottweiler when their dog is a Spaniel. But I just mean, I battle this thing where every single hair has to be in place and exactly going in the right direction and whatnot. I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to this. Anyway, 50. So 50 years on planet Earth. And oh my goodness, it has changed in many ways. But change can be good. And thank you so much to everybody for the comments on the last video. That really surprised me. I usually, I had some comments from some new people, which was really lovely to read. And not only that, the comments were all quite lengthy. And it sparked some sort of tiny little, not debate as such, no one was sort of arguing, but it was just really interesting to hear all your thoughts on everything. And your memories, etc. And it just was really, really nice. And I really appreciated the time that you took out of your day to leave those comments. So thank you very much for that. And it's so nice because it's just nice to those people out there watching. Really, really nice. So yes. I find myself as I'm getting older questioning things a little bit more. It's like I read this book last year, The Power of Now. And that was actually quite life-changing for me. It really got me to look at things very, very differently. Maybe I'll talk about that a bit more one day on another video, but I don't know if any of you have read it. But it's a really, it makes you realise a lot of things about your own thought processes and the constant chitter chatter that goes on in your mind. And it really was life-changing for me. It made me look at things differently and just take on the world in a different way, if that makes sense. And now I'm sort of, well, I'm not reading it. I've got it on Audible because I had a free credit or something. So I got this book and it's called Busting Loose from the Money Game. And my word, that is a bit of a mind-blowing kind of a book. It basically is suggesting, I mean, I'm going to sound a little bit crazy now, but if you've seen the film Avatar, or there was another film with Jim Carrey in it, which is a really interesting film. He's going about his day to day, and then at the end of it, he's in a boat and he's rowing away, and he comes to this like bubble. And from what I can remember, they were in some sort of like dome, and everything was programmed. You know, it wasn't real. An Avatar, I'm sure it's Avatar. Don't they lay in pods, and then it's their mind that takes them into the world that is Avatar? I'm sure it's that. Anyway, it's kind of like that. It's implying that nothing is real and it's all your... So it's you. How do I describe it? So it's your consciousness, and you're almost creating the world that we live in. Everything, the plants, the trees, the this, the that, the other. So none of it's actually real. And it's really interesting to me because it kind of backtracks onto the power of now, which in that book is all about your thought process and how to live more in the now. And the power of now is the fact that I can't change like the millisecond that's just passed. That's in the past. I cannot possibly predict the future. The only thing I have any certainty over is right here, right now, doing these pencil strokes on this piece of paper. And it's all about finding a way to just live in the now, and quiet the mind, which is your ego mind, which actually all that chitter chatter, all that ego mind that goes on every day is actually from everything you've learned through in life, everything that's been programmed from your experiences, things you were taught. So the power of now, for example, my perfectionism, let's use that, is from experience I had in my childhood where maybe I did art one day and I got, like when I did the tracing when I was sort of 5 or 6, and people were very happy about that. I took that in as obviously a really great thing, and then art became a thing that I enjoy because I was obviously rewarded because people were smiling and happy about it. And maybe that's what led to my perfectionism. Maybe it was that moment that because I'd done such a good job from that point on, I felt I always had to get it right, or I always had to do an equally good job. Maybe that's exactly where it stems from. I don't know. So my perfectionism is based on an event or a string of events that happened in my life, and that's programmed my ego mind. So here I am doing this drawing, which currently looks like this. And I'm telling myself none of this is right. You know, I'm ready to start again, which is ridiculous. That's my ego mind talking. So the power of now is trying to teach you that, yes, that's the thought process. Be aware of those thoughts, but don't engage with them. And the busting loose from the money game it's not saying the same thing, but it kind of is, in so much as none of this is real. It is just an illusion. So if I'm sitting here not happy with this drawing, that too stems from my belief system. And it's implying that, so with busting from the money game, at some point I put in everything that was needed to program myself to become a perfectionist. And that created a pattern that then became a kind of program in my world that I've created. I know it's very heavy. It's very hard to explain. And so because of the patterns I create, that's the experience I have in this world. But the point of the busting loose in the money game is to teach you that you can change your beliefs in essentially, by reprogramming the patterns that you put into the game, which it calls it the human game. So I'm currently living in the human game. So I can reprogram the patterns so that my experience in the human game is different. So there's sort of similarities in the idea behind it. And it's really tricky to get your head around. The power of now, I got my head around that quite quickly, and it really changed things for me. And I mean, if you want to hear more about it, I could try and explain it a bit better, but this just might not be your cup of tea. Talking of which, I got a lovely new cup for my birthday too. A very nice size cup. Anyway, yeah, whereas busting loose from the money game it plays with your mind. It's an awful, I mean, I'm literally listening to it again, because the first time round, no, I could not absorb what it was trying to tell me. So second time round, I'm taking notes. And that's helping. But it's a really interesting concept, and it fascinates me actually. So yeah, I find myself doing these things, is my point, as I'm now getting older. And I suppose I've got a lot of stuff programmed in my mind now. And also I think you just look at life differently as you get older. So things that were maybe you considered important when you were younger just aren't anymore. You know, it's like you're not, I mean, it's fun. It's interesting to me because I remember being, sorry, I'm going all over the place again. I remember when I was younger that there'd be people around me that used to say about the jobs they wanted to have when they were older. And, you know, there's a lot of people that wanted to earn an awful lot of money. And I just remember never having that wish. I just wanted to have a life that I enjoyed and just be able to pay the bills, keep a roof over my head, and be happy. And I pretty much have done that, except my way has meant that there's many, many days when I don't, you know, I'm constantly worried, am I going to have enough for the bills? And some days I don't. I have to, you know, juggle a little bit. But I also got a life whereby I'm not chained to my job, or as in I've been around for Emily, you know, and that's been the most important thing for me. So I pretty much got what I wanted when I was a kid. But it's interesting because things change now. I still don't want to be a millionaire as such. I mean, don't get me wrong, if £1 million landed on my doorstep tomorrow, I am not going to turn it away. I would actually do some good with that. It wouldn't just be me that benefited if that happened. But my point is, now I'm older, I would really love to just be able to know every month the bills are sorted, you know, not have that constant sort of worry where that's coming from. Just know it's there. So that's definitely changed. And I find there's things I'd quite like to do now that I just never weren't on my radar when I was younger. I mean, I've never wanted to travel the world. It's not, you know, I like this country. I know I said that this is becoming a prison for me, this place, but don't forget I've lived in a relatively small town, which is now becoming quite large, but I've been here all my life. Hence it's starting to feel like a prison, and all the changes, all the people. I've just never been a people person. I've just never had that need. That's what I was trying to sort of say. So now that the place is becoming quite busy and packed, it makes me want to run for the hills. And it's not because I'm against the people coming as such. I'm not. I just prefer the peace and quiet of, I prefer to choose to go into a crowd rather than have the crowd permanently around me, if that sort of makes more sense. But this place is just feeling a bit like a prison because I've just literally always been here. And I'm beginning to realise there's more out there. I still don't want to travel the world. I love this country in terms of its green and its old buildings, and but there are some places that I would actually quite like to see now. Equally, it won't bother me too much if I don't see them. You know, I haven't got that kind of, that is not something, travelling is not something I obviously put into my human game that I am supposedly playing. But at the same time, I wouldn't turn it down. That's a change, you know, that's different. There's no way I'd have ever thought of moving from this country, but I find myself thinking of it. That's new. At the same time, it would be very hard to leave MZ here, so there is that. I do find myself reflecting on my life a little bit now, but luckily not with any regrets. I don't have regrets. There are things I sometimes look at and think, oh, if only I'd done that differently. You know, time and effort I've put into relationships or whatever, and then it's easy to sit there and think, oh, it's 5 years of my life wasted. But I don't think that, because out of everything, all my experiences, when I stop and think about them, they've all taught me valuable lessons. And that is I do believe that our time here in this game, on this universe, on this planet, however you look at what life is, however you, whatever your perception of what this is all about is, for me, I do believe that it's all about learning what you can from life. And I know that is a really tricky thing if something awful happens. You lose a loved one, or, you know, that's where it all gets a little bit tricky and a little bit rocky, because, you know, saying everything happens for a reason to someone who's just lost someone dear to them, well, no one's going to want to hear that, are they? But for everything that so far in my life has happened, I have learned a massive lesson. It's changed me in some way. It's changed how I look at myself. It's changed how I go about things, or how I think, but for the better. So from that point of view, I don't have any regrets about any decisions I made or any life choices I've experienced, good or bad. In fact, I'm grateful for them, which is crazy, isn't it? Because at the time, that was not what was my thought patterns at all. Many times I have screamed at the universe, what the flipping hell? Why do you keep throwing this stuff at me? But when you actually stop and look at the situation, in my life, I've realised how much good has come from all these things that have happened. There has always been a lesson in there. And once upon a time, I just used to also say to the universe, right, I'm done now. You know, maybe the goal is to keep giving me lessons. Maybe that's the whole point to this life that we're experiencing, but I'm done. I don't want any more lessons. Whereas now, if there's more lessons, there's more lessons. You know, it doesn't bother me like that anymore. It's a really interesting thing. In fact, I find it interesting. You think you're at a certain point in your life, and then woohoo, here comes another lesson, and you think, bloody, I didn't even know about that one. That's crazy, you know? It's like, who knew? I thought I was done. And it's like now with this busting from the money game. Have you ever played The Sims? Where you like build this little world and you kind of watch the little people moving about doing all their... There's been a lot of times in my life where I've sort of looked out the window or whatever, and I thought, oh, it's just like The Sims, you know, everyone's, I don't know who any of these people are, but they've all got their own little world. There's like that person's sort of might be going into a family, and that family's got family, and that's always been something that fascinates me, just the fact that there's all these people going about their daily lives outside the window who I don't know, who are complete strangers to me, and yet they've all got their own little worlds. And I find it fascinating. And actually, so now I'm reading the Busting from the Money Loose, it kind of incorporates that, because so basically what it's suggesting is that I've got my main characters. It's like a film. I've got main characters, like the few main people that are in my life are there because I've chosen to put them there, and in some way they must have also done the same thing for me to be in their illusion, they call it, in their game, whatever. And then everyone else either just has a cameo role, so like maybe where I go to work, that's a cameo role, and then you've got the extras, which is all these people. They're all the extras in my game, because it says, when you think about it, there's like 7-8 billion people on the planet, and nearly all of them, bar a few, are extras. And it suggests that you put them there because if you were playing the game by yourself, it would be boring. And it's got to appear real. The illusion's got to be real, or you just wouldn't even play the game. Am I losing you? I find it fascinating. So it's really funny to me that whereas I've like looked and life, so very often, like if you're sitting at a train station, all these people dotting about, I've often compared it to like a game of The Sims. That's exactly what this book is almost also implying. It's just interesting to me. Let me know if you've read either of these books, and if you have, did it change your life in any way? Did it make you sort of think differently? It is interesting. So anyway, 50 and I'm sitting here doing my portrait, which I'm really hoping are going to do well this year, because even though I suffer with my perfectionism and they can be challenging to me, I do love that other people get to receive them, because it's, you know, I mean, I'm fortunate. It's not, I do appreciate the fact that this is not something I've been taught. It's just something that I've been able to do. And I do like that I can offer that to people, because obviously pets are precious things. to us. They are part of our families. And the fact that I can produce a picture for people of their lovely family members for them to treasure. I like the fact that I've got that gift, I suppose you could call it. And I like being able to use it. So, yeah, I hope the pet portraits, I mean, I do still want to do my art. But I want to do it differently this year. You know, I want to try and really break free from this perfectionism that I do suffer with. And I do say suffer because it's so restricting. I really want to find a way to just break through that and find me and my art style, which I did do a little bit with the abstracts. That's why I enjoyed them so much. It showed me there's more inside of me than I know, because each one told a picture. Each one told a little story that I could relate to easily. And it absolutely fascinated me. And I'm someone who has always said I don't have an imagination, you know. I find it hard I don't dream, for example. But of course I've got one. It's in there somewhere. And I just need to find it. And I realised yesterday that if this world that I'm living in has all been created by me and my own consciousness, then I have got a hell of an imagination. And I just want to tap into that, and I want to find it this year. And I want to create art that means something to me. I want to have fun with it. I want to experiment with it. I want to break free from perfectionism and just see what comes out on the paper, and not judge it or analyze it and tell myself it's absolutely rubbish just because it doesn't look like a particular thing. Just be grateful for it and the fact that I could do it, and just marvel at the fact that what was once a blank canvas now has something that I've created, whatever that something is, on it. And if I can create something that other people like too, well then excellent, because if that gives them something to look at. And I mean, that's the thing with the abstracts. So many people saw different things in them. I mean, I have them on my wall. It's the one thing I've done that I would absolutely, well, not the one thing, because I like my pet portraits and I do like my animals, you know, I love the things I make. But the abstracts, they just challenge your mind a little bit, and I just, you know, they might take you to a place you don't want to go even. You know, some of those abstracts I did, I wasn't in a particularly good place when I did them. But I love to look at them because the pictures always change. I see something new in it. And I absolutely love them for that. So, you know, if I can produce art that gets people to have the same experience when it's on their wall, that would be amazing. But I don't know if that would be the case. Portraits, yes. Anyway, there we are. Today's waffle. Happy birthday to me on this, what is currently a rainy day, but apparently the sun's coming out later, so that's nice. And yeah, half a century. I don't even know where it's gone. Doesn't worry me. I know some people get a little bit panicky when they reach each milestone, but at the end of the day, I am a day older than I was yesterday. That is all it is. It's just somewhere at some point people in life decided that they termed it, you know, ages had categories. 50 was old, then it wasn't. 50 is now the new 30. 50 has to be a really special, it's like Emily, bless her, she was so But it's a special day. I've looked up on it says the internet says that 50 is a really special day and you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. It's like, you know, Ems, not everything is as it seems on the internet. It's my birthday, but it's also just another day. So it's all good. I say that. This picture is actually for a 50th birthday. So yeah, something special for that person. And it's nice because I actually know that person. It's someone I used to go to school with. And his wife asked me if I would do a picture of their dog, and I obviously said yes, I'd love to, but the time frame was very small. So I'm up against it a little bit. I really want it to be done for his birthday. I just don't know if it will be, but I will give it my best shot. Oh God, sitting here on my 50th birthday doing it. I can't do no more than that, can I? So yes, anyway, thank you once again for the comments on the last video. It really was lovely. And if anybody wants to know a little bit more about either of those books as I read them, then let me know. They are fascinating. But yeah, like I say, if you have actually read them yourself and your interpretation of them is different to mine, please let me know. I'd be fascinated to know what they meant to you or what you took from them, and if it's made any difference in your lives. Having said that, I do believe you only read these books when you're supposed to. I don't think they are for everyone. I think people's own fears about certain situations or certain topics would potentially mean that these sorts of books never ever come into your existence. Because, as I said, I do think everything happens for a reason. Like, I had a lovely comment from a lady, I think she was called Vanessa, who said she couldn't believe how much alike we are. And I would say that the whole reason she came across my channel is for that very reason, because we are alike. And I love that. I think that's really cool. Right, anyway, one last little look at this week's drawing. And I actually won't be able to post this today on my birthday, because I'd hate for the other person to see this before he'd actually received it. So it might be a few days later. But just know that I had a great birthday. What time is it now? 5 to 9 in the morning. It will be a great day. Right. See you soon. And at some point there will be more to my videos than just me chatting whilst I'm drawing. For sure. Hopefully. Right, take care. See you soon.